Hey YouTube, it's Weird Paul. Sometime in late 1982, I became interested in the characters of Michael Myers from Halloween, Jason Vorhees from Friday the 13th, and Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Even though I was only 12 and I had never really seen any of the movies, I knew that they were insane killers, and that was enough to make me want to write my own fan fiction featuring the characters. It's called Halloween Was on a Friday in Texas, alternately titled Devil's Night. The main characters are myself and my 7th grade classmate Mike Nuzzo, but the story takes place many years in the future when we are adults. Mike Nuzzo and I were in the forest on Halloween in Texas on a Friday. We were going to get our fresh supply of marijuana from our hiding place. But when we got there, Jason, fully clothed in his hockey mask, was chasing us. We started to run the other way, but who was there but Michael, fully clothed in his white mask? So we ran to the side and leaped into our Lamborghini Countach 5000. But they had a Ferrari Dino. It was a race for our life. Captain Chaos from the movie The Cannonball Run appears just long enough to be run over by the killers. The first chapter ends with both cars going over a cliff, but we survive to meet up with our friend Kelly Simon. In Chapter 2, the killers are joined by Leatherface, and they chase us on motorcycles. We're joined by our friend Chip Artneck, and the bad jokes continue. We saw a house in the distance. I said, "It looks deserted." Chip said, "Not only that, but it doesn't look like anyone's in it." As the story continued, many of my classmates saw what I was doing and asked to be written into it. In some cases, they would even tell me what their characters would do. Like in Chapter 4, Michael Hajar requested that he be the boyfriend of Heather Thomas, an actress who is famous for the TV series The Fall Guy. In Chapter 5, Michael and Jason show up with a wrecking ball to knock down the hotel that we're staying in. We steal a police car to get away and meet 2 secret agents, Brian Sexauer and Al Richardson. When I realize that 3 days have now gone by, I exclaim, "Maggots mixed with crap!" After Leatherface is set on fire and killed in Chapter 7, we arrive at a campsite where we meet Kevin Quigley, who's playing Dungeons & Dragons. We do a Dukes of Hazzard style jump in his Jeep to avoid Michael and Jason, who are chasing us in a pickup truck. In Chapter 9, on December 1st, we meet up with Rob Puzzluzny. He says he's been doing a show for HBO called Master of Horror. Strangely enough, over 20 years after I wrote this, there was a series called Masters of Horror that aired on Showtime. In Chapter 12, Michael and Jason start killing people at a football game and throw a bomb to a football player instead of a football. In the next few chapters, there's a bunch of nonsense about bounty hunters, a double agent, and a murder rap. 8 more characters die, some only appearing briefly, like John Wiseman, Wade Wilson, Bill Shaw, and Chris Hout. Somehow, my friend Mike buys another Lamborghini. It's not explained where he gets the money. We decide to drive back to our original marijuana hiding place from the beginning of the story. We find that the area has now become a computer school. We decided to go in and ask the instructor where our marijuana was. In Chapter 21, Michael and Jason reappear with shotguns and kill most of the friends who are still with us. And in Chapter 22, a new maniac appears. The bloodthirsty killer from the movie Pieces. By this time, almost 2 years had gone by since I started writing the story. It was now late 1984. I was 14 years old and I was in high school. By Chapter 23, we're nearly broke and we're planning to rob a bank. But luckily, we meet up with Bob Shahan, who is a paid vigilante. He gave us $500, a crossbow, a Grand Prix car, and 2 M16s. Chapter 24 is a major turning point in the story. Bob finds out that Michael and Jason are going to kill people at the Weird Al concert in Pittsburgh, so we fly to the show with Weird Al to protect him. When I first wrote this part of the story, I gave the role of Weird Al's roadie to a girl that I liked in school. I soon became embarrassed of the thought of outing my crush in the story, so I erased her name and wrote in the name of my cousin, Brian Gerker. Weird Al opens his show with the obscure song, "I'll Be Mellow When I'm Dead." Suddenly, Michael and Jason appear with machine guns, killing Weird Al's fans. During the chaos, I kill the Pieces assassin, but Weird Al and I are both wounded by bullets. In Chapter 28, I recover, and we decide to go to Hawaii and learn the art of Oriental self-defense from a cheap ninja, Mike Reed. Michael and Jason attack with machetes. Michael's machete is struck by lightning, which knocks him unconscious, and we use this opportunity to decapitate him, ensuring that he is finally dead. In Chapter 29, we decide that we're going to take Jason down. It is now April, and over 5 months have elapsed in the story. We decide to borrow some money from a loan shark, Tom Maziarz. But this is where the story ends. In the margin on the last page, it says, "Writer's block is what I've got." Apparently, I couldn't figure out what to write next, so I didn't write anything. The only clue to how it might have ended is back around Chapter 21. In the margin, I wrote, "Nuclear ending." If I get enough likes, comments, and other positive responses on this video, then maybe I'll take the time to type out the entire story and post it online for everybody to read. So let me know what you think. See you soon. Thanks, YouTube. Have a ghastly Halloween.